Matt, would you like some delicious...
We're not doing that today specifically. Hello and welcome to This Is. We need to talk about advertising.
Because when they're integrated well, you find yourself with an unquenchable thirst for Boss Coffee.
We are not sponsored by these drink companies.
This is an example of how advertising can infiltrate your mind and influence you to purchase Boss Coffee, available at Boss Coffee's website.
Red Bull. Team Red Bull. Text 1212422233336 #4 to vote. Text messaging rates may apply. What we're going to talk about today is there's a lot of talk going around between PlayStation, between Microsoft about adding in-game ads to specifically free-to-play games. I do have an exclusive. I have a leaked memo from one of the executives. It is from Nolan Sorrento. And the memo quotes that they can sell up to 80% of an individual's visual field before inducing seizures. It's hyperbole, but I feel like this is kind of where we are heading.
The idea of ads in games is nothing new, right? Especially throughout the 2000s, there were a lot of experiments with like having ads baked in. If you've played a racing game ever, you'll know that typically the real-life billboard ads in the races and in the tracks and on the cars and stuff are replicated. But those aren't traditionally money makers. In fact, they just do that really to make sure that things are authentic.
I will say where I actually miss it is I play a lot of like MLB The Show. If you've ever been to like Fenway Park, go Yankees, there's a massive Coca-Cola sign above the Green Monster. And that's not in MLB The Show. It's weird that I feel like I'm missing that advertisement
you want
because
it to be
it's
authentic.
not authentic.
Absolutely.
But what I'm not missing is like in NBA 2K when they have a full unskippable cutscene with Jake from State Farm where he's talking about how your great, amazing insurance rates helped you become a better basketball player.
What we're looking at here is, again, nothing that's strictly speaking new. However, what I do believe it is going to be a major new push for console games. Because let's not forget that console games are one of the few bastions, the unspoiled beauty of gaming that has not been infiltrated with ads. It shouldn't be a surprise that console free-to-play games are going to start integrating ads in a little bit more of a legit way. Because while, yes, Sony and Microsoft might tell you that it's going to be billboards in, the Fenway Park or whatever that they're going to try to sell, we know what this is really going to be. A 30-second unskippable ad to get 30 coins to play the next round of Genshin or whatever. Like, to me, I don't think this is going to be any different than the kind of free-to-play stuff you see on mobile, which, in my opinion, can be quite aggressive sometimes, to say the least.
It's supposed to be a way to seamlessly put ads in natural places. So if you're walking down a street in like an open world game, a billboard on the street which should have an ad, it would be a real product that they're advertising. And that's the way they're kind of pitching this.
Almost as nefarious as if in the middle of the sentence, YouTube inserts an ad break.
Oh, is the ad done? Good. Oh, we're back. I do agree with you. I do think it will end up being, unskippable cutscenes, and I feel like it's going to end up being just as predatory.
The state of mobile ads in games, I think, is very aggressive, right? Like, my nephew, he's always playing games, and, like, he's gotten good at finding the little X's. Those little X's to close the ads pretty much always bring you to a second ad. Like, it's really bad. It's a little bit weird when you think about it that consoles are one of the few places that this isn't already a thing. Sony is quoted as saying they're going to employ a strict vetting process to make sure that advertisers can't collect personal information. A little bit nebulous of a concept because I'm sure that they're going to need some kind of personal information, but they'll be able to do something. Interestingly, actually, Microsoft has said that they're not going to be taking a cut of the revenue from these ads, which makes sense, that they're going to just allow it to be used on the platform. If anyone, Microsoft should probably know about this most, because ever since the days of the 360, they've had like straight ads running inside your home screen, right? So it's not like this is something new, but this is going to be, I think, a little bit of a shift to the way a lot of free-to-play games are going to start using the console capabilities for gamers.
Now, before we start calling them, white knights for not taking any revenue, if I can advertise on stuff and not have to pay Microsoft a cut, that's an incentive to have more players on their platform.
I don't think that Apple and Google take a cut of the ads in games.
So it doesn't seem like they do get a cut. People were actually mad at Apple because they were taking out ads themselves in competition with their own advertisers to funnel people into the App Store where they do get that 30% cut.
Right, so basically, if you are the platform holder, you don't make money on the ads, but you make money obviously on all of the in-game purchases, and you're buying ads to bring people back to the App Store to buy another game or to download something else. So if you include your own ads in a game, as far as I know, on a mobile platform, they don't take a cut and it's all just yours. And I would be pretty confident that that's why developers are asking both Sony and Microsoft to implement this for console games.
Yeah, and so the goal with the vetting process is to make sure it's responsible, but at the same time, it's going to be just more about targeting. Because if you're baking things into games, the way that these APIs are supposed to work is that billboard is essentially a green screen within the game that they can put any ad on there that they want. And let's face it, all these free-to-play games are becoming live service games that are always online.
Yep.
Offline play is completely off the table with a system like this. This whole thing is really a bigger kind of problem, or I guess like shift, because as we've gotten smarter with like ad block, ads have had to get more and more creative to keep showing us these things, because that's how you monetize all these platforms.
Well, and they're also everywhere,
Yeah,
right? And you'll see it in Windows. You'll see it in your browser. You're going to see it on your TV. I know actually a lot of TVs these days are heavily subsidized, right? So not only are they trying to sell to advertisers like the information on what kind of content you're watching, even if it's just, inside an app or whatever
Yeah.
the case is, or via HDMI, there's a deeper conversation about where the lines on ads are. And as Matt said, I mean, this channel, our company, would not exist without advertising, right? Straight up 100% is not possible. So it's not like we can sit up here and tell you that ads are bad. I do think it's really worth just keeping in mind consoles are one of the very few places that ads really aren't all that prevalent. Free to play and, asking you to pay for skins and coins and all that kind of stuff, that might still be a thing. But this is one of the only exceptions. So I don't think it should be that huge of a surprise that consoles can't just stand alone forever. Developers want to make money, and advertising is a legitimate revenue stream. Now, as with anything, too much might be a little bit aggressive, and it's hard for us to sit here and tell you that it's going to be super well done and you're going to see little billboards, it's going to be funny, versus you're going to be sitting through unskippable 3-minute ads to play the next round of Fortnite.
The naive little happy boy in me would love to say these ads in the games can replace, $20 skins or things like that.
Yeah.
I would love that. We can very easily pick the good ways to do this, but the reality is it's probably going to be the bad ways to do this, which again comes back to 30-second unskippable ad. It's like people only drink stuff because they're told to or whatever. It's just
imagine being sponsored by corporate companies trying to insert their advertising in a video for no particular reason, almost as nefarious as if in the middle of this sentence, YouTube inserts an ad break and suddenly everyone's very confused as to why there was an ad in the middle of that sentence. Or you didn't see one and that joke made no sense at all.
Oh, is the ad done? Good. Oh, we're back.
For sports games, for racing games, for games that are trying to replicate a real world experience, if there's a real ad on a car or a real billboard on a track or something, I want to see that, because to me that helps to add to the authenticity. I can't stand when a game has non-licensed cars, a bunch of generic stuff. Like, to me, I want to see the actual car. But if GTA 5 or GTA 6 had real licensed cars, I would love that so much more than the Cadillac Cascade.
And like, this is where we want it as consumers and as gamers and stuff like that. The problem is it's not advertising, it's licensing, which is the other way around.
Yep.
That's Rockstar paying to license in like a Cadillac or
some of those deals are actually not paid. Like, a lot of times, actually, I believe car companies will let like games
it's free advertising for them. I'm just gonna rant for a second
Whoa.
because I love mobile games. I do. I know that's unpopular. I love them, but they are completely ruined by all of these ads in there. A level might be like maybe a minute, and then you're watching a 30-second unskippable
Yeah, there's
ad.
definitely like sort of differences. We're also seeing ads in other places that I think we're actually seeing pushback on. I believe Microsoft were experimenting with including ads in things like the File Explorer, which I'm pretty sure they've walked back. Samsung got into a lot of hot water because they were including not only sort of notifications, but also they had like straight ads, I believe in like the weather app and some of the defaults. And actually Samsung got so much flack that they have actually been sort of pulling that back.
The problem is, like, this exists everywhere. No brand is exempt from this. This is the way that companies are going to make money.
Yep.
And there's not a whole lot we can do as consumers because they're going to shove it down our throats, whether we like it or not.
I'm hopeful that with both Sony and Microsoft having a little bit of a more of a say, I guess, in how this stuff works, I'd like to think that because this is on their platforms, they're going to be a little bit more restrictive on how bad these ads could be. If you think about back to early mobile games, they weren't always this bad. It's taken a decade plus for every app developer ever to get super aggressive with things, and it's kind of calmed down a little bit.
That's the problem, is because they realize how much money they could make by just increasing the aggressiveness.
Yeah.
And now they got 10 years of data that says this is what works.
And if Sony or Microsoft aren't letting them do so much of the targeting, right? Because an ad on your phone or your tablet or whatever is probably gonna know everything about you because you use so many things on that device. But if your console is a little bit more sort of separated and they don't have quite the same amount of information, there's probably gonna be less incentive for it to be quite so annoying. But let us know what you think about more ads in your video games in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe, ring-a-ling that ding-a-ling button to not only let the algorithm know that you want to see more This Is, but importantly, that it will know that you want to watch ads on This Is so that we can keep getting sponsored by Boss Coffee. Cheers, friend.
Text hashtag 42222222222 and then let us know that Red Bull is better.